My supervisor at the branch office, where I was relocated, unfairly harassed me. I even got coffee splashed on me and was held responsible for someone else's error. Then something changed for me. I threw open my arms after completing the evaluation of my most recent document. All right, that's a wrap for today. I saw that half of the staff had already left for the day when I looked around the floor. Time to head home myself, I guess. I got up from my desk after finishing my cold coffee. Kevin is my name. I work at a reputable large corporation's headquarters. I suppose I'm seen as having mid-level tenure at this point. I don't want to brag, but I'm not that intelligent, and I didn't go to a famous university. In addition, I am clumsy and awkward. I've always paid attention to even the tiniest things and worked harder than anyone else because of this. I am now the most successful of my classmates as a result of this. That's not actually how I perceive myself. I simply concentrated on finishing the tasks assigned to me, taking each one on day by day. In my private life, I'm thinking of getting married to my girlfriend. Like me, Emily, my girlfriend, is modest and diligent, although she doesn't stand out much. Maybe it has always felt good to be together because we are so similar. It was everything going well. I thought I could live this happy life indefinitely. Exactly like that. Kevin, can I talk to you for a minute? My employer, Will, called me just as noon was approaching. Yes, what is it? I apologize for the last-minute request, but after speaking with Will, I can't recall how I got home. I couldn't even remember what I had done. The directive to move to a regional branch came as a total surprise. What a sudden transfer order, and at such an odd moment. I may not be aware of it, yet I might have made a mistake. A demotion, to put it another way. I believe I had been putting in a lot of effort, but perhaps I made a big mistake somewhere, one that could have affected the business. I was too scared to check it out. I was scared to confront it and run the risk of losing my job. It's useless to think about it. As I packed my belongings, I reminded myself, let's try our best. My name is Kevin, and I was moved from headquarters. Good to meet you. Max, my new supervisor, gave me a sly glance on my first day. So you're the guy, Kevin. Huh. Max's unfriendly manner made me unconsciously cringe. I was led to my desk by a youthful-looking female employee who said, Kevin, please use this desk over here. I scanned the floor gently. Except for Max, all the others appeared to be good-hearted workers. That only served to highlight Max's eerie presence. I have to deal with this guy as my boss now. Just the thought made my stomach churn. Hey, Kevin. Max began calling me over for every little thing, constantly complaining and grumbling. Max started yelling about problems that were unrelated to me, leading one of the colleagues, fed up, to intervene and clarify. That's not Kevin's fault. He wasn't responsible for those documents. Then Max turned to me with a contemptuous look and remarked, Oh, quite the ladies' man, aren't you? Already got the women defending you. It was at that moment I truly felt anger boiling within me. Don't worry about it, Kevin. Will is just envious because you're from headquarters, a seasoned employee confided in me. I have known that transfers from headquarters often face this kind of underhanded harassment. I used to regard male jealousy as more contemptible than female jealousy, as if it were someone else's issue. Hey, if you're encountering such hostility, maybe you should consider leaving. I found myself venting during our conversation. That's not an option I'm concerned about. I fear the stress might take a toll on Kevin, Emily voiced, her tone laced with worry. It's all right. But if this continues, leaving might be on the table. So don't fret too much, I reassured Emily, and myself too. In an environment where a superior unjustly targets their staff based on personal biases, the outcome is often predictable. Something is bound to happen if I go. But the thought of running away here is also frustrating. It feels like losing to Max. Just thinking about how he would act if I quit makes my blood boil. If I'm going to quit, I might as well give him a piece of my mind first. I made up my mind, determined not to lose to someone like him. The reason for my transfer remained a mystery. However, I was determined not to succumb to despair or abandon my duties. Then Max challenged me. "Hey, can you secure this deal?" His probing look was evident. "Show us what you're made of, Kevin," Max taunted, his sneer deeply unsettling. "Understood. I'll give it my best shot." Regaining my composure, I contacted the client to schedule a business meeting. As I methodically tackled my tasks, I thought I caught a glimpse of Max's displeased expression. But I dismissed the thought and focused on my work. The following day, I arrived at the client's location at the appointed time. However, I was met with an unexpected response at the reception. "You've missed your scheduled time," they informed me. That seemed impossible. Despite my insistence, I was told they had another engagement and couldn't meet with me, forcing me to return to the office. Throughout the return journey, I continuously checked my planner. I was certainly on time for the appointment. Why? Could I have misunderstood? No, it's not. I checked, and they checked too. Where did I go wrong? The source of the error remained elusive. Back at the office, bewildered, I had to face the reality that the deal had fallen through. Reporting this was inevitable. Upon my arrival, Max inquired, "You sealed the deal, of course." His tone, dripping with sarcasm, made me pause. But I knew concealing the truth was futile. As I recounted the events, Max's reprimand was disproportionately loud. "Big talk, yet you botched the timing. Such an error is inexcusable for someone not new to this. Do you think you can afford to slack off just because this is a branch office?" Max's harsh scolding halted everyone in the office in their tracks. "No, I didn't get the time wrong," I started to say when, suddenly, he threw the coffee from his cup at me. "Still talking back, huh? You think you can mock me?" Max stood up, looking like he was about to grab me. Just then, an elderly man entered. "Sorry to interrupt," he said. I had no idea at that moment that this man would come to my rescue. As I wiped myself off with a towel, the man quickly brought me another. I listened to his words. "Here's my business card," he said, handing it to Max. Max's attitude changed instantly. He turned pale. The man came over to me and said with a kind smile, "Nice to meet you. I'm Abel. You must be Kevin." I clasped his hand and apologized. "I'm terribly sorry for the inconvenience caused by my tardiness today. It was truly inexcusable. Please don't worry. The change in time was my request." "I thought my staff had informed your boss, Max," he said. As President Abel spoke, he gave Max a sharp look. Max, with a barely audible voice, looked down. "Kevin, I've been aware of your work since you were at the headquarters. I've always thought of you as someone who makes sure to communicate even the smallest changes. A person capable of detailed negotiations. I was looking forward to meeting you when I heard you would be handling this," he said with a warm smile. I felt a bit embarrassed. "Max, what is this about? It seems Kevin wasn't aware of the time change. Is this some sort of harassment against Kevin, who came from the headquarters to cause inconvenience to the company? What were you thinking?" President Abel questioned Max in a calm yet firm tone. "No, I didn't mean to. I just forgot to pass on the message," Max stammered. At Max's words, everyone in the room looked up. "So, you're saying you blamed me for your own communication error?" I asked, barely able to get the words out. Max, still looking down, didn't respond. While everyone was focused on Max, President Abel said, "Kevin, if it's all right with you, I would like to have a word again." His words lightened the tense atmosphere. Later, I was given another chance to present. I was more pleased about getting time from President Abel than the outcome itself. Feeling lighter on my way back to the office, I received a call from President Abel himself, offering me a job. "Yes," I exclaimed without thinking. Catching myself, I quickly looked around. It was a relief, a huge relief. That was all I could think of. I didn't care if my reputation suffered. I could always work hard again, but I didn't want to be the reason the company suffered due to my mistakes. It was truly a relief. I needed to get back to the office quickly and report this. Trying to contain my excitement, I hurried back to the company. "The deal is closed," I announced. Applause broke out. "Congratulations. That's great." I was greeted with congratulatory messages from everyone. Then I realized Max wasn't at his desk. "Where's Max?" Everyone exchanged glances. "He's been demoted, transferred to a remote location," someone informed me. I was surprised. "When you anger President Abel, this is the inevitable outcome," they said. Everyone was talking, chuckling wryly. Ina was appointed as Max's successor. Quiet and unassuming, she always had a knack for subtly supporting everyone. I later found out she couldn't get promoted due to Max's presence. Max's demotion was heavily influenced by President Abel's decision. Realizing the magnitude of President Abel's influence, I shuddered at the thought of what could have happened if I had been wrongly accused of missing the appointment. Being favored by someone as influential as President Abel means you are really exceptional, Kevin, Eno said with a gentle smile. Feeling somewhat embarrassed, I just smiled and shrugged it off. After a day full of events, I collapsed onto my bed, and before I knew it, it was morning. Last night sure was eventful, I muttered involuntarily as I sipped my coffee. As I arrived at the office, I immediately noticed the distinct atmosphere, a stark contrast to what it had been before. When the leadership changes, the atmosphere changes too. Lost in these thoughts, I received a phone call. It was Will, my supervisor from the time I was at the headquarters. "How about coming back here soon?" he asked. It was during a lunch break when I called him back that I first learned the truth. It turned out I wasn't demoted. Instead, I was transferred to gain experience in regional operations, deemed necessary for my future at the company. "You're considered a promising talent for the future," Will said. I thought I had been demoted for messing something up. Feeling deflated and speaking in a drained voice, I heard Will apologize. Sorry, I couldn't really go into details." "My bad," he said, laughing. "When can you return?" he asked. I hesitated for a moment. "Can I have some time, please?" I asked. It wasn't a demotion. That was a huge relief for me. Sure, I had the desire to return to the headquarters. If I went back now, I'd probably get a promotion, but for some reason, I couldn't genuinely feel happy about it. The headquarters, in a way, must always be in a state of perfection. It's that kind of place. Striving for that is something to be proud of. But what about the branch office where I am now? What's the situation there? With someone as incompetent as Max at the helm, I couldn't help but wonder if this branch was in a worse state than others. What was its current state? Driven by an irresistible urge, I hastily emailed a colleague at the headquarters. Sure enough, I skimmed through the list attached to the mail. Our branch was close to the bottom among all branches. I had heard that soon after my transfer, Max had forced out employees who were more competent and likely to advance to protect his own position. Indeed, Max's responsibility for putting his own pride ahead of the company's benefit was significant. But I also thought it problematic that the headquarters had been completely oblivious to such a state of affairs. The next day, I confided everything to Will, the fact that not a single capable employee was left, that the headquarters had been unaware of this until now. As someone who came from the headquarters and was supposed to return, I couldn't leave the branch in this condition. I wanted one more year. Could I not return to the headquarters after setting a clear path forward in that year? I knew I was being presumptuous. If the headquarters had written off this branch, they would tell me to come back immediately. It was a sort of gamble. "Can you give me some time?" "I'll talk to the high-ups," Will said. "Please and thank you." After hanging up, I let out a small sigh. 1 year. That's all. After a year, "You're coming back to the headquarters. That's final," he said. 2 days later, Will called me. "Thank you so much." Right after hanging up, I went straight to Anna. "There's something I need to discuss with you." Anna was incredible from that moment on. She listened earnestly to what I had to say and asked me to work hard together. The next morning, She laid out the current situation of our branch minus 12 employees without sugarcoating anything, and even disclosed that I had postponed my return to the headquarters for a year to try and turn things around. As the discussion progressed, I noticed the sparkle returning to everyone's eyes. Initially, they all had the look of dead fish in their eyes, just coming to the office and leaving at closing time. That was all. That's why our performance never improved, and we were just barely surviving. After the morning assembly, some started revising documents, others came up with proposals for clients. Some contacted previously rejected clients to secure business deals. Everyone began to take the initiative in whatever they could do. Seeing everyone like this, Anna said nostalgically, "This was how it used to be in the beginning." Everyone lost their motivation after that. "Max came," said Olivia and his colleague, with a bitter expression, and later confided in me that when Olivia was young, she was very beautiful, and Max had been persistently pursuing her. But when Olivia got married, he started harassing her. Yet the strong-willed Olivia decided, "I won't be defeated by someone like him," and stayed out of sheer stubbornness. "There's nothing stronger than a woman who's made up her mind," she said with a smile. "So, you're coming back soon, huh?" About 3 months before the promised day, when I was finally going to return to the headquarters, I told Emily. I thought Emily would understand, but it's natural to want me back sooner if there's a chance. Being told that by Emily was tough for me too. That's why I had been hiding it, feeling guilty. "Isn't there anything left for you to do there?" I was taken aback by the unexpected question. "Why?" "Because of Kev, you can't just abandon them and go to a safe place for yourself, can you?" Emily seemed to see right through me. "I've done everything I could. Now it's up to everyone who's left to keep up the effort," I replied with a weary voice. "Right, you've got 3 months left. Give it your best," she said with a smile. Despite my being so selfish, the fact that Emily could forgive me with a smile made me deeply respect her. This past year, I stayed and worked hard, even at the cost of making Emily feel lonely. Soon, the results of that effort will be revealed. It could go either way. There's no way it'll turn out badly. It can't be worse than before, Emily assured me. Even so, the anticipation made my heart race. If the results of the big show at the head office and the results of staying behind are inconsequential, the higher everyone's expectations are for the branch office and for me, the more scared I am when I can't produce results beyond my expectations. Sometimes, you just have to face things head on, Olivia said over coffee. Reflecting on the phrase, "A determined woman is strong," I feel its truth more deeply than ever. Seeing this, Olivia grins at me, catching my involuntary smile. At exactly noon, the report card was sent out. Everyone present watched in utter silence as if they'd forgotten to breathe. Did we do it? No way. That's amazing. The employees began to exclaim one after another. Looking at the report card handed to us, our branch had achieved the top sales nationwide. Olivia, nicknamed the Iron Lady, had tears in her eyes and quietly said, "We owe all our achievements to you, Kevin. Thank you so much." And everybody applauded. I couldn't find the words, pretending not to notice my vision blurring. Soon after, I returned to the headquarters and was promoted 2 levels. I even checked with Will, wondering if there was some mistake. He just laughed, saying, "You've earned it with your achievements." Every time I met with the higher-ups, they would invariably say, "You've done well," but envy started to show among my peers. It's inevitable when you get promoted. I was confronted by many, but it took quite some time to get used to it. If you work hard, there will always be someone watching over you. You must never give up, my wife Emily says happily. I truly believe that if you earnestly persevere and do what you believe is right, there will eventually come a day when your efforts are rewarded, just like it was for someone like me whose only merit was being serious.